So, I've been watching Pop the Balloon for the past, I want to say, 4 months now. And I've binge watched the ones that I didn't watch before, right? And now I'm all caught up. That's how much I am in love with that show, right? And there are a lot of like buzzwords or like kind of like expressions that are used often, and people seem to act brand new, like they don't understand what people mean by them. So I'm kind of here to kind of like break down what I understand from those buzzwords, right? The first one being, I don't like your outfit. A lot of people say things like, oh, outfits can be changed, outfits don't make a person, outfits this, outfits that. Me, as someone who's married, right? I'm not saying you should really just write off someone based on outfit all of the time. However, it's not the craziest thing for someone to mention as to why they don't like someone right off the bat, right? Let's just talk about, something hidden about outfits. When it comes to someone's outfits, right? Outfits are not just pieces of clothing, right? There's a reason why when we go to a store, we choose this outfit as opposed to that one. We choose this shirt, we choose these shoes outside, as opposed to other ones, right? Our outfits really kind of like show off our style, right? Let's just agree. Let's just understand that, right? Outfits mean our style. Some people might look at my dress and they're like, that's not my style. I would never wear that. They might look at my earrings. Oh, I would never buy that. And that's okay because that's my style. I chose them because I like them. They speak to my personality. They speak to what I want to present as, right? So I could see someone's outfit like the show and say, oh, I'm popping based on outfit. What the person is actually saying, it's kind of like, I don't like your style. You and I just, we don't look good together. Like, of course, I can in the future just talk to you about like, oh, wear this instead of this. But we don't want to be with someone that we have to change 100%. We don't want to be with someone that we have to kind of like, fix or like because they're not our babies. Like, we can't impose on like their choices on outfits 100%. Of course, here and there, if my husband has a shirt that I don't like, I just go right out and just tell him like, hey, I don't like this shirt. And he either gets rid of it if he doesn't like it as much, or he just doesn't wear it when we go on dates or things like that, right? So saying that you're popping on someone based on outfit is not as childish as people make it out to be. Outfits, like I said, it shows off your style that the person might just not be into, and that's normal. Second point, like I said, how we look together. I might, this is my look, and if the first time I'm meeting you on a date, you're supposed to look like you're going on a date, and you come with ripped jeans and you come with like loafers on your feet, or I don't know, like some weird kind of sandal. Hello, like you don't understand the assignment. Like, we don't look good together. We just don't look good together, and that's okay. You will find your match, and that's fine. The third thing that outfit tells people is about your personality. So the way I'm dressed, right, you could kind of like make an inference on what my personality tells you. It shows you that I'm a girl who loves earrings. I love big earrings that have personality. This is a flower. Like, that's just me. Like, I like outfits that are not very just like simple. This is a crisscross here. It's, the material is really soft, and it's a long dress that goes up to my ankle. So it shows off your personality. So that's the next thing that outfits, do, that they show. The next thing that it shows is like, that's what looks good to you. So if someone wears an outfit and that's what looks good to them, that's basically saying that that's who you are. Like, not in general, but that's what you chose to wear. That's what you have in your closet. Like, that's just who you are in terms of outfit. Okay? And so that doesn't work for me, and that's okay. It also, in terms of like, that's who you are, it shows your taste. Okay? I just don't like your taste, and that's okay. Another thing that outfits show, it's about your culture and your environment, right? It really kind of like shows what is the norm in your culture, what is accepted in your environment, and that may not go with me. Like, no shade, but I just cannot stand men who wear ripped jeans, or men who wear bedazzled jeans, like bedazzled shirts with all the craziness. Like, I don't like loud colors on men either. Like, if you're someone who's gonna wear bright, bright green sneakers, if you guys take a look at my husband, he doesn't own those things. Like, he doesn't dress in bright colors. He's not bedazzled in his outfit. Like, that's just not my taste, okay? And that's okay. Another thing that your outfit shows is kind of like, it makes a statement. That's who you want to show up as. That's what look good to you. That's what you want people to kind of like think of you, because whether you agree with it or not, the way you dress really lets people know how to address you. That's why we have a saying, dress how you want to be addressed, right? So we don't make the rules. We do make the rules, but they're there for a reason, right? So the way someone dressed, it really tells you how to address them, really. Now, if you're a good person, which I hope you are, you're not gonna go off of somebody's outfit and like, be rude to them. You're not supposed to be rude at all anyway. But it really tells the person, like, why do you dress a certain way when you're going to an interview? That's because your outfit speaks loud. So for an interview, let's just say if you're a lawyer, or you're going for an interview as a nurse, or for any interview, even at a local store, you're not going with shorts and sandals. Why not? Because our outfit, it tells a story. It tells people who we are, how we think, and how serious we are about where we're going. So let's just not lie to ourselves, right? So I just wanted to break it down to what happens when someone say, okay, I'm popping based on outfit, and I look at the comments and I'm just like, wait a minute, why is everyone mad off of the fact that people are popping off on outfits? Like, you should actually just I want to say, hear the person out for a little bit first. But if they don't want to, I see nothing wrong with that, because outfits are not just outfits. And that's that. The other segment that I see, people are going crazy in the comments from Pop de Balloon or Find Love, is when someone pops on initial attraction. So I never understand why people are mad in the comments for that. Like, initial attraction, it means like that's someone's physical is what you see first. I mean, you're gonna have to kind of like at least be a little bit okay with how the person looks before you can get to know about their personality. Like, this is not crazy. This is not something that's far-fetched. Like, me as a married woman, right? Can I say I enjoy my husband, I love being married to him, if I don't like how he looks? Like, come on, what are we doing? Because like, going on the show means like you want someone to date and eventually marry, or at least you just want to, let's just keep it as dating. I gotta be able to stand how you look. I mean, what's the issue? This is not far-fetched, y'all. Like, I gotta be able to get past your physical. Like, please, when we look at someone, we put them in categories. Like, based on how someone looks, based on how they treat us, we put them in categories. This person can only be my friend. This person, yeah, I want something romantic with them. This person, this and that. Like, we do judge based on physical. Let's not play. Let's not kid ourselves. That's just, when I read the comments, I'm baffled. Like, okay, what is the issue? Like I said, it's the first thing we see. It's the person's physical. So I gotta be able to bypass that before I could get to the personality. So another point I want to make is like scientifically and psychologically. I'm gonna talk about that point because I am a social worker. So I'm gonna talk about that point. Psychologically, right? It's proven scientifically that when we are choosing our mates, we choose people based on who we know will either make our kids look good, or we choose them based on like different factors evolutionary wise, right? So let's just stay on looks. Not to say that we all choose someone who looks good. We don't. But for the sake of this video, let's think about it for looks only, right? It's normal if someone wants to choose someone who looks good. Why? Because half of the time it's not a conscious choice. Half of the time it's psychology, right? Someone attracts us. It's something instant that happens. Like, we don't even think about it. We don't think about it. Granted, there are times where, like, we know someone for a long time, they've been our friends, and we grow feelings for them. That's not what I'm talking about. That happens, obviously. And sometimes we do date people who are not conventionally attractive because of factors like, okay, they have money, that's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about that instant attraction from, the physical. Like, we see someone and we get hot for them, like, oh, he looks good or she looks good. Most of the time it's instant, it's psychological. Okay, one. Number two, with the aspect of like science, right? We get kind of like attracted to someone instantly because our biology understands that, hey, if I mate with this person, there's a higher chance that our offspring will be healthy, our offspring will be, good looking, so they will be able to survive for longer. Because believe it or not, the better looking you are, the more people treat you nicer, you get things, like, you can live further on, right? So there's a lot of reasons. So I'm not gonna go too much on a tangent on the psychological and scientific area, but you get the idea that why do you think a lot of women, we want the tallest man, we want the man with most money, we want the man who looks good, like, that's science. And for a man, why do you think they want a woman who haven't had many sexual partners, who is very beautiful? Like, it's science. Like, when we mate with these people, there's a higher chance that our offspring will go on and live and have more offspring and be able to carry our genes. Like, I'm not gonna go on a tangent, but that's a good point too. What else do I have here? That person is thinking about kids, that person is thinking about attraction, that person is thinking about the halo effect, which is like, whenever you see someone good looking, you kind of like attribute them to having other good attributes. Like, oh, if they're good looking, they might also be nice. If they're good looking, they might also be, a social person. They might treat me good. They might do this, that, the halo effect, right? So when someone is popping off on initial attraction, I don't think it's the craziest thing. Of course, if you want to have a meaningful relationship, you might want to kind of like, okay, instead of popping on everyone that's not a 10, you might hold off on popping on someone who's like from a 10 to like let's just say a 6, to widen your pool, right? Because the narrower your pool is, you just will be single, or you'll be one of many, right? And that's not what we want to be. The video is for the women who don't want to be one of many. I'm not talking about if you're okay being a side chick or anything. That's not what I'm here for. As you can see, the name of this channel is Dating to Marriage. So yeah, it's all of that, right? So when someone pops off on initial attraction, it's not the worst thing in the world. Granted, if you're popping on anyone who's not a 10 right off the bat, you're narrowing your pool, which is worse off for you. So again, it's not the craziest thing to pop off on physicality, given that that's the first thing we see, and given that a lot of the time it's not even our choice. It's, it's our psyche who's choosing someone who looks good to us. The last point I'll make on this area is like, scientifically, it's also proven that in our brain, we prefer someone who looks a certain way, like who looks like us. Like, why do you think there's a phenomenon that happens when someone has been dating for a while, or even married and living together? They start to look like each other, and you would see, two skinny people, they prefer each other. Two people with like their faces, having the similar shape, they prefer each other. So it's science. It's science. It's not that far-fetched. Another area I want to talk about that I'm seeing on Pop the Balloon is when people have an issue with kind of like when a man pop off on age or when a woman pop off on age. I don't understand that, because the idea is you should be glad when someone pops off on you because you're too young for them, or vice versa. If you're too young, if you're too old, like, it's a valid point. Okay, like, I'm popping on you because you're too young. That area speaks to the fact that we won't have much to talk about. Like, you're not from my era. Like, you're not from my from the 90s. Like, there are things I'm gonna tell you you won't understand. Like, I want to be able to have commonality, you know, that when someone is, let's just say, too old, like, it's okay if they don't want to date someone younger, because you know, they might have children that are like closer to your age. For example, right, a guy popping off on a guy who's like, let's say 40, and popping off on a 25-year-old girl or 26-year-old woman, right? I understand, because he might have a kid that's like 22, and at that point, you and their daughter, y'all are gonna be like sisters, and it's awkward, it's weird. And as a woman, you should be glad that a man is like, because I've been seeing that on Pop the Balloon, especially the UK version, where the guy is like, oh yeah, I would not even be able to like you because, you know, I'm way older than you. So it's a good thing when a man doesn't want to take advantage of a woman when it comes to age. Yeah, conversations, I can't have much of that with you. Kids your age, you know, like the older person having kids your age, that's an issue. Experiences that I want, you know, the person might want you to have had, but you haven't had them because you're not old enough, you know. And in general, commonality, right? Like, we cannot even talk. Like, we can't. So basically, to wrap up this video, in general, right, the idea is like, you should want someone who wants you. If someone is popping off on initial attraction, let it fly, it makes sense. If someone is popping off on age, let it fly, it makes sense. If someone is popping off on initial attraction or outfit, let it fly, it makes sense, right? Physicality, like our physical appearance, that's the first thing we see, so give people grace. It's not far-fetched. Obviously, if someone really wants to get married, then there are a lot of things. I'm not gonna say that they're gonna start to compromise too much on, or like lower their standards, as we say. I'm not gonna say that, but if someone really wants to get married, they're gonna try to widen their pool. What does that mean? Instead of looking for only 10s and 9s, they're gonna open up their pool to 8s and 7s and 6. These people will start making sense for them if that group has something to connect it with, like good personality, money, height. You know, they could have a conversation, they have a good heart, good family, all of that good stuff, right? But the idea is you would want to widen your pool if you're serious about being married. What else do I have to close this off? Yeah, physicality is the first thing we see to be able to build anything, really. So it's not far-fetched that we pop off on, you know, physical things. Of course, if you have a lot of time to waste, you might just stay at he has to be a 10, he has to be 6'6", he has to have 6 packs. Like, even that, when you really think about it, it's kind of funny. The numbers that are like diabolical, it's 666, right? The girlies are saying he has to be 6'6", 6 packs, making 6 figures. Like, you, from just the surface, is diabolical. So that's how you know you won't find many men who are available. You know, having those 666, because it's diabolical. Okay, it's diabolical. What else do I have here to close this off? Yeah, the idea is to respect people's preferences. There's no reason to bully anyone in the comments. There's really no reason, child. Really no reason. Yeah, so if you really want to get married, like I said, you will widen your pool, and you will also think about the idea of, like, the person might not be wow looking at first, but they might have other attributes that you could tackle on together and, you know, make that your person. A lot of the girls that I talk about or talk to, they will tell you they weren't wowed, physically by their husbands at first. Not that he's ugly. It's just like the husband is like a 6.57. And when you get older, you'll understand why you want to be in the middle. Like, you want to be chilling in the middle with someone that's in the middle, because that's another conversation. But they're happy now in their marriage. Why? Because the guy has other things to get together with the fact that they're only a low 7. But that's another conversation. We'll get on that, in other videos. Because I will make videos about, the idea that a lot of people don't want to date someone who's in the middle, kind of like a range in terms of looks, and they're bypassing a lot of great people, and they're going into thinking like, hey, I need to strive only for the top 1%, and that's why all you're single. So I'm gonna make a video on that, with a lot of like data, to back it up, statistics, all of that good stuff, and then we'll just see each other on the next video. Thank you so much for watching.